everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I have another colored pencil review for you. MAGICFLY reached out to me and asked me if they could send me these pencils so that I could do a review for all of you here on my channel. And I was excited to do this because I know that so many people that watch my channel are all about collecting colored pencils. And so that is what we are going to do today. As with all of my pencil review videos, we are going to unbox these. I am going to take a thorough look at the pencils, and then we are going to test them out in my favorite pencil sharpener. We are going to swatch them, and we are going to do a blend test and see how these pencils perform. If you enjoy videos like this, please do make sure you subscribe to my channel and also turn your bell notifications on so that you always get notified every time I post a new video. In the description box below, you will find links down there for my Facebook group as well as my email list, and also for my Patreon if you would like to support me over there. Let's go ahead and get into this pencil review. Let's go ahead and open these up, get this plastic off. Here is the tin they come in. Of course, it says 72 colored pencils, 3mm break resistant leads, and of course the company name MAGICFLY. And if we turn it over, as with a lot of the more budget-friendly colored pencils, you do get your swatch list here on the back, and it looks like all of the colors do have color names, and it looks as though they have numbers as well. But we're going to swatch all of these out so we can see exactly what these colors look like laid out, because most of you know that we really can't depend upon the color that we see on the actual tin. I believe that these pencils are oil-based pencils. I went on Amazon and I checked, and it does state that they are oil-based. So we are going to see how they perform in a blend test. If we pull this a little bit closer, we could see it says they are professional grade artist quality pencils, break resistant, soft, strong 3mm cores, sturdy, comfortable barrels, smooth color laydown for superior blending and shading, 100% non-toxic, ideal for drawing, illustrating, and coloring. They come pre-sharpened, premium pigments, and then it just gives you a little thank you up here from the company along with their website and their email address. Let's go ahead and pop the top off the tin so we could take a look at these pencils. Again, you can see that we have our swatch all on the inside of the tin as well. And then you get this little protective piece of styrofoam here on top of the pencils. The only way to pull the trays out is by this little hoop or little curve here on the actual plastic tray. And so it was a little bit difficult for me to pull the pencils out, but you get one tray. Here is the second tray. And then we have a third tray. Each tray is going to contain 24 colored pencils, and we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at the colors as they set in the actual tin. So let's go ahead and look here. We start with the whites and then we get into our yellows. Here we have what looks to be like a salmony color, and then we're going to get into some brighter oranges here, and then our oranges, and this looks like a more of a burnt orange. Then we have some more salmony, looks like pretty bright colors. There's some really pretty colors in here. We've got our pinks, and then it looks like we're getting into our reds or our oranges that have some red in them. This is the second tray, and we are going to start here with our brighter greens, move into our darker greens. We've got a really pretty beautiful green color here, and then some darker, even darker greens, which may be more of some olivey greens. And then we've got our brighter blues and our darker purples, and then we get into what would be our more pinky purple colors into some pinks. And then this last color here I am a little bit unsure of. So reading the name on it, it looks like it says grape purple, so that is going to be probably a very deep purple there on the end. And now we have the third tray. We have some purples, and then we get into some more darker purples. The other purple might maybe have some pink in it, and these are more of the blue purples because we are getting into some of the darker blues now. And then we have what looks possibly to be, yeah, I think those are grays. And then we have some more yellows, but they may be more in the brown range because they're here next to some of the browns. And then we move right on down to our black. So those are the colors as they lay in the trays. Let's go ahead and take a look at an actual pencil. So let's take a closer look at the pencils themselves. Of course, they've got the 3mm cores. This is what the lead looks like when you receive it in the mail, pre-sharpened. Of course, you all know that I am going to sharpen them to a nice sharp tip with my Dahle 133 sharpener. We have the color name. So this one says lemon, and then it has M015, which is a color number. And then we have what looks to be a light fastness rating here on the pencil, but I have not been able to find in all of my research whether or not the 5 stars means the highest light fastness or the 1 star means the highest light fastness. If you remember from when I showed the inside of the tin, they also have on there the whole list of the little crosses rating the pencils as far as light fastness. So the pencils have a black barrel, and then we've got the color dipped tip, and then they have the little silver ring here. So the next thing that I like to do is I always like to test all of my pencils or my colored pencils. When I do a colored pencil review, I like to test them out in my Dahle 133. And the reason for that is I like to see how hard or soft the actual wood of the pencil is. It sort of gives me a little bit of a hint as to how the pencil is actually going to perform, because usually if the pencil is a better quality, the wood will be a little bit softer. For instance, if you were to purchase a set of Crayolas, I love my Crayolas, but you all know that the Crayolas are very, very hard. When you put them in the pencil sharpener, you have to put a lot of strength behind the dial back here to be able to turn it to sharpen your pencil. But y'all know that this Dahle 133, it can handle any pencil you put at it. It even handles the square 120 Brute Fooner pencils and sharpens those without a problem, even though they are square. I put my hexagonal pencils in here, and I sharpened all 120 of my Crayola pencils, as well as my entire Colors of the World skin tone set. So let's see how this pencil performs in this sharpener. Okay, so we have the pencil in there, and we're going to go ahead and turn the lever. And it stopped on its own. As you know with the Dahle, some pencils that you put in here, it will stop on its own when it's done sharpening, and others not so much. With the Prismacolors, I definitely have to stop it so that it doesn't sharpen my pencils too much. But this is the lead I'm going to get with the Dahle 133. Absolutely beautiful. Y'all know how much I love my beautiful Dahle 133 sharp leads. And this is how I like to color. It seems to give me the best performance no matter what pencil I am using. When I do this part of the video and I test my pencils in the Dahle 133, I do like to try 2 different colors, because sometimes there is a difference in the feel of the colors dependent upon which color it is in that set. So let's go ahead and try this color. This is the Purple Iris, and I'm going to put this in the sharpener, and we are going to see. These are very easy to sharpen. The wood is rather soft, and this pencil sharpener is sharpening them really, really nicely. So there is another beautiful lead for that pencil, and I'm just going to slide that one back in here. But I always suggest every time you get a new set of colored pencils in the mail that you do make sure you sharpen your pencils, because a lot of the pencils, when they come from the manufacturer, they will have a wax film on the end, and that is just to protect the lead of your pencil. And it makes a huge difference whether you're swatching your pencils or you are coloring on a PDF coloring page that you've printed out or in an actual coloring book. It makes a huge difference if your pencil has been sharpened. It makes a huge difference in their performance and how they are going to lay down on the paper and how they are going to blend. So we are going to go ahead and move on, and we are going to swatch all of these colors out. I'm going to discuss my thoughts on all of the colors at the end of the swatching. I'm going to go ahead and set the swatch to music so that it goes a little bit quicker, and then I will come back and I will discuss all of the colors as they are laid down on the swatch chart. I have my colored pencil chart here that I created. If you are interested in getting one of these charts for yourself, you can sign up for my email list and you will get this colored pencil chart in your email for free. This is printed on the Spring Hill paper. Y'all know that is my absolute favorite paper. I always have a link for that paper down in the description box below as well. So we are going to go ahead and get into the swatching, and I'm going to set this part to music, and then I'm going to come back and I will discuss my thoughts on all of the colors and the color range and what is included in this set. have all of our colors laid out so that we could see exactly what they look like, because most of you know that when you are purchasing budget-friendly pencils, and even though they've got the color dipped tips on them, you cannot necessarily tell exactly what that color is going to be that comes out of the lead of the pencil. So it's very important to swatch your colored pencils when you do receive them. You can get these pencils on Amazon right now for $29.99. They do only come, I believe, in the 72 set right now. And there is also a 10% coupon on these. I will have the link down in the description box below in case you are interested in grabbing these pencils for yourself. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these colors. So we start out with the yellows, and we get a really good range of yellows. We get some really pretty bright yellows over here. And then we move into, we have a sort of peachy tone here, and then we get into our oranges. And so we've got these colors too right here. These two colors, they are pretty close to one another. I really can't see that much of a difference between these two here. And then we have this deeper orange, and then we have this darker, deeper orange. It looks like it has quite a bit of red in it. And then we've got another orange here, and these two look as though they are pretty close to one another. Then we have more of a burnt orange, and then we get into the coral colors. This is a really pretty color. Moving down here, we've got some peachier tones. As we get into the lighter pinks, we've got another really pretty coral here. These are some really pretty colors, but some of the colors are a little bit close to one another. These two here are a big enough difference. This one has, it looks like, more red in it, and this one has more orange in it. So those two are a big enough difference. But then we get into the pinks. So we do have a really pretty baby pink, or a really pale pink in this set, which is, I don't know, a lot of sets you don't really get that really pretty pale pink. So that's really good. And then we've got these two pinks here. And then we get a brighter, prettier pink, and then a different kind of brighter, prettier pink. I really love these pink tones here. These are really pretty. So you've got 4 pinks here, some darker, some brighter, and then these 2 paler tones. Then we get into our red tones, and we've got a couple more orange tones stuck in here in between. And then we've got some more reds. This color here looks like a pretty true red. And then this one looks more like a watermelon type color. Then we get over here, we've got this really pretty bright green. You guys know how much I love those beautiful bright greens. That's gorgeous. And then here we've got another different type of bright green, and even another one. I love those 3 colors right there. And then we get into our more true greens as we move more into what would be a green that has more blue in it. And then we have a teal type color here, and then we've got a couple more greens. You get a lot of pretty greens in this set. And then we get more into our greens over here that are more of an olive green. And so we've got, this one looks to be the lightest, and then we have this one here, and then this one is the darkest. Oh, and then we have another one down here. So we get like 4 greens that are more on the olive side. But that is really cool because y'all know how much I love coloring leaves. And of course, leaves don't always have to be green, but we've got plenty of options. We can do green, and we can add other colors in with that. And then we move into what we have here, maybe a teal color. Yeah, that's a pretty dark teal. And then we get into what I would consider our brighter blues. And then we've got some purples here. And oh, we have more pinks. So we've got our pinks that have purple in them down here. And then a sort of, I guess, magenta type color. That's really pretty. And then we get into our lighter purples, and then more purples. And then we've got blues all in here, our darker, deeper blues. And then we have a blue here that is really, really pretty. And then this is a very different color. I don't think I've seen a color like this in any other set. It looks to be gray, but it has a lot of green in it. That's a very different gray. That's really cool. And then we've got a gray here and another gray here. And then we have more yellow tones, and they've got these over here by their browns, or as we move into the browns. But y'all know if I was putting these in perfect color order, these tones here would be up here with my yellows because those have quite a bit of yellow in them. And then we have some colors here that are more like a rustic orangey type colors that are sort of moving into the browns. Then we have this color here that is really pretty. This is more like a burnt red. That's a pretty color. And then we have a few browns here, different tones of brown, which are all very pretty browns. And then we have our black. So we've got a really good array of colors. I really like the color selection in this set. The only thing that I would had changed is these two colors here that look very, very similar to one another. But that is the only place that I really see that in this set. We've got some oranges here that are very similar, but they are not exact. This one has more red in it than this one. This one has more orange. So those are our colors, and I think that we are now going to go ahead and do a little bit of a blend test with these and see how they perform. Okay, so I have my Spring Hill paper here, and we are going to go ahead and do the blend test. I chose 3 colors here, and of course I sharpened them with my Dahle 133 to get my nice sharp leads that I really, really love. So we have the grape purple, and then my mid-tone, I'm going to use the eggplant, and then for my lightest color, I'm going to use what's called peony. So let's go ahead and start here with the darkest shade, and I'm just going to lay some of that down, and we're going to see how many layers we can get down with these pencils. Now I'm going to come back and lay this one down starting at my darkest and just pull it down just a little bit further. Now I'm going to come in with the lightest color and work through that transition line and pull that one down just a little bit more. Now let's go ahead and come back the other direction with our darkest color, and these are going down really nicely, y'all. They are soft and they're smooth, and they are performing just as an oil-based pencil would. They feel very much like an oil-based pencil. Now, most of you know that most colored pencils have a combination of oil and wax in them, but some are going to have more wax and some are going to have more oil. These are definitely an oily pencil. I'm laying my second layer down with this color. And the blend and the transition, they're going down very, very nicely. And the transition between the colors is almost seamless. Now, when you're using oil-based pencils, you always want to make sure that you are just using very, very light layers. So I'm going to come back the other direction and lay more of this grape purple. And I'm going to come up on my pencil, or the pressure on my pencil, just a little bit as I lay this third layer down more into the mid-tone. Then I'm going to come back with the eggplant, and I'm going to come right in that transition area, and I'm going to go in a circular motion and lay the third layer down of this color down into the lightest. Now I'm going to come back with my lightest color. And you could see that the pigment is very nicely piling on and increasing the pigment of the colors as I come through and I lay more layers here. Let's go ahead and try layer number 4. And of course I'm going to go back in the opposite direction. And it is starting to fill some of the white of that paper, but not completely. Now I've got my 4th layer of this color. And then my 4th layer of my lightest color. And I don't know, I'm at 4 layers and I'm kind of feeling like I'm not really sure if it's going to take that much more. So let's just try 1 more layer, and I'm going to go back the other direction, and this time I'm going to push a little bit harder on my pencil just to burnish it in just a little bit or get rid of some more of that white. And I'm going to pull that down into the transition area of the next color. Now I'm going to come back with this color, and I'm going to start at the transition and pull it down further into this color, all the way into the highlight color as I release some of the pressure off my pencil, just to create a very smooth transition line. Now I'm going to come back in here at the transition again, and look at that. The transition line is just almost not noticeable at all. I'm looking at this very closely, and it looks like the blend is just fabulous with these. Let me hold it closer to the camera so that y'all can see, but it looks really, really good. I don't see much of the transition line at all. It's pretty much seamless. And I'm sure I could have come back with more layers, but we've got, what, I think 5 down on there, and they did really, really well. So let's go ahead and try one more color combination and see if there is a difference. I want to go ahead and I think go to the greens and do a little bit of a blend test with the greens now. So I chose 3 more colors, and I chose greens just because we all love to color leaves and flowers, and you know, flowers are pink and leaves are green. So I thought it was a good combination, but I will let you know what colors I'm using. I'm going to use the mint, and then the lime, and then the apple green. So the mint is going to be my darkest color, and then my mid-tone is going to be the lime, and then I've got this beautiful bright apple green. And on the swatch chart, this is the apple green. It looks like this. My favorite color on the whole entire, or in the whole entire set. So I wanted to be able to do a blend test with that one. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down my mint color first. And again, these are laying down really nicely. They're very soft. They're a hard pencil, I should say, but when they lay down on the paper, they go down very nicely. They feel very soft going down onto the paper, but the lead is rather hard. So those of you that are heavy-handed colorists, you may really enjoy these. Now let's go back and do a second layer. Look how instantly that pigment just fills in there with the second layer. And it comes down into the transition, and it's almost a seamless blend. These are really blending really nicely. This is my second color. And I'm going to pull it down into that highlight color. And now I'm going to come back with the highlight color with my second layer. Oh, that color is so beautiful. Okay, so now we come back with our third layer. And we've got our highlight color. Okay, so layer number 4. I'm going to go in a little bit of a circular motion this time, just to sort of pull these colors together. Number 4, pulling down into that highlight color. And then our highlight color in the 4th layer. Now, like I said earlier, I could really tell that a lot of the paper has been used up already, or the tooth in the paper has been used up already. So I'm going to come back with my 5th layer, and I'm just going to use a little bit of a harder pressure and see how much I could change the color and fill the white of that paper. So it is still laying more pigment down. And as I come into the transition area, I'm going to lift up just a little bit. But these two colors, the mid-tone and the darkest color, they are blending together very well. And I'm going to lift up on the pencil just a little bit as I come into this lightest color, because I want to sort of help that transition there. Now let's see what happens if we take our highlight color and go back over all of these colors and sort of burnish them together. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to come down Oh, look how it changes that color and brightens it up a little bit. The color just, oh wow. These blend together so nicely. Look at that. And it really helped out that transition area where we went from the mid-tone into the lightest tone. And I'm going to hold this closer to the camera so that you all could see the difference here. I really want to get this blended out really nicely. So what is this? Maybe, are we on 7 layers? And they're blending out so nicely. Look at that burnishing job. Oh, these are nice pencils. Maybe I should have done this on the pink. Okay, so let's hold this one a little bit closer to the camera so that y'all can see. But it looks to me like it has blended together very, very nicely. We have maybe 7, 8 layers down there, and they're all burnished together, and they look really, really good. For a budget-friendly set, that is a really good blend job right there. And the fact that I was able to take the lighter color and go over it and pull all of those colors together and create even a better transition area between this color and this color. The differences between these two colors is quite a bit. This one has a lot more yellow in it than this one does, and this one's much darker. So for those two colors to be able to transition the way they did, I would say that is pretty darn good. So let's go ahead and I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to try to burnish these colors together. I'm going to grab the pink, the peony that I was using. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do the same thing and see how this one performs as well when I come back here and burnish all these colors. I'm just going in a circular motion and I'm just adding another layer. And then let's maybe go the other direction. Oh yeah, these are pretty good pencils. On this paper, I will say that I've done plenty of videos where I talk to you all about making sure that you match your pencils to your paper, and even the same when you are working on a certain paper in a certain coloring book, you always want to make sure that you match your paper to your pencils, because your pencils are always going to perform better on one paper more so than another paper. And you always want to try to use paper that is a bit toothier and not something that is more for something like markers where the paper is really, really smooth. So I could even come back in here and I can probably lay another layer, and the paper is still taking the pigment. So we're like at 7 or 8 layers here with these pencils, and that's really pretty good for a budget-friendly set. And look at the transition. On this, you cannot even see the transition here. And the colors transitioned so nicely, all the way from the darkest color to the mid-tone to the lightest color. That color is just gorgeous. Those greens, oh my goodness, so pretty. So that will go ahead and wrap up the review for the 72 set of MAGICFLY pencils. And my final thoughts are that this is a really great budget-friendly set. As you can see in front of your own very eyes, when I did the blend test, the pencils performed very, very nicely. And they blended together really, really well. You can barely see any of the transition lines on here, especially after I came back and I burnished the colors all together with the lightest color. I mean, I didn't even need to come back and do it with a white or anything, or even test out the white pencil, because the lightest color in my set worked fabulously with the 2 different color combinations I chose. If I'm looking at all of the colors laid out next to one another, I would say that the color selection is really, really nice. The only thing that I'm a little about is the fact that these 2 colors right here look almost exactly the same. But aside from that, every other color has a really good difference in values for every single color on the colored pencil chart. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video today. And if you would like to get these pencils for yourself, I will have the link down in the description box below for you to be able to purchase these. They are $29.99 right now on Amazon. And if you purchase them right now, there is a 10% off coupon. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy coloring. Bye.